Hello from Disney Springs. So we just got through the temperature check and I am now standing right by the orange garage. It was a very similar process to what I did over at CityWalk, and I'm actually going to put that footage in right now. Here's a look at the screening area for your temperature check in the orange garage. It's going to be the same exact setup over in the lime garage as well. You're just going to go right up to one of those AdventHealth employees, and then they do the forehead temperature check just like we saw at CityWalk. And if you're under 100.4, you are welcome to enter Disney Springs. If not, they do have these little white tents you can actually sit in, and I believe you're allowed to wait to try to cool down your temperature a bit, and then they'll do it one more time to see if they can let you in or not. Alright, so now that we are past the checkpoint, we are down in Disney Springs. I'm right by the AMC Theater, Planet Hollywood. So I'm just going to kind of walk around a bit, see what it looks like, see all the different social distancing measures that are here, and kind of see how they compare to what we saw over at Universal. There are not too many stores that are open yet. All the Disney-owned stores and restaurants will be opening a week from today. Today is May 20th, it's a Wednesday. But there are some stores open as well as a bunch of the sit-down restaurants. I'm not going to sit at any of the restaurants tonight, but I am probably going to pick up some Chicken Guy. So we'll see what that line looks like. But yeah, we're just going to kind of see what Disney Springs is like now that it's officially reopened. Alright, so the first thing I have right here at the bottom of the orange garage is the Coke store, which is not open yet. So there's a standard "Sorry, we are closed" sign that is on all of the windows of the stores that are still closed as of this time. But we can see the social distancing signs that are on the ground here. So a lot of the stores have these right at their entrances, so you have to stand behind one of these little dashed lines to say please stand here, and then once it's your turn, you're then going to be directed in once the store has enough capacity to let you in. And then you also see that some of the doors, like we see over here, are exits only, so you're not going to be able to go in this entrance right here once the store reopens. Over here you can see some of the distance seating that is out here at Chicken Guy, where all the tables are 6 feet apart. They did take advantage of all the additional space they've gained since they are expanding the restaurant into the old Planet Hollywood store. I don't know if they necessarily have more seating than they used to have, but it's definitely more spread out since they can go all the way down now. Now over here, Wolfgang Puck is open. I see hand sanitizer on the podium to check in. Some outdoor seating tables here. It looks like they are for the actual restaurant, not just the gelato bar. Here we have more of those distance signs on the ground that show you where you can stand when you're in line to get Chicken Guy. And it looks like we do have some more stores that are open so far in here as well. So Columbia is definitely open. Tommy Bahama is not. Right there we see that one's an exit only, the next door is entrance. So it does seem pretty standard that most stores have 1 or 2 entrances to accommodate that distance line, and then the other doors appear to be exits only. But it does seem like almost every store does have the distance signs already on the ground. So whenever they're ready to open, they already have all of the signs and put in place, so they're ready to go as far as being able to distance people when they can't get into the store. Here's a look at one of the A-frame signs that talks about all of these health reminders. Very similar to the one that we saw over in CityWalk. There was one at the entrance of the parking garage as well that had some more details. And that one did specifically remind you that you are increasing your exposure and it is your choice and risk to be here. CityWalk had the same exact statement, but here we just see more of those common reminders to keep your mask on, distance yourself, wash your hands, and all that fun stuff. Now it is right around dinner time. I think it's roughly 6:30. So it did open at 10 a.m. today, so it's been open for many, many hours now. But I wouldn't say it's too crowded. The parking garages were definitely filled enough, but there were plenty of open spaces. And it's pretty easy to walk around right now and keep yourself away from other people, which is really great. So I wouldn't say the crowd levels are too overwhelming. There are 2 parking garages that are currently open, and that is just the orange and the lime garages. So you cannot use the surface parking lot or grapefruit. They may open later when capacity is raised, but for this time, they're just using the 2 garages. Now the Welcome Center is open right now, but the doors are wide open, and they do have, if you can see in the distance, one of those blue temporary sinks. They're identical to what we saw over in Hollywood Studios. So if you watch that most recent visit from when I went to Hollywood Studios with Amanda right before the parks closed, we did show what some of those sinks looked like. And right here would be typically where you'd go if you're staying at a resort hotel to get to your bus, but that is all fenced off since none of the hotels have reopened yet. But it does definitely seem very consistent. Everyone has the same distancing signs and the same exact "Sorry, we are closed" signs if they have not opened yet. Now one thing that makes me so excited to see are the balloon cast members again. Besides being able to wear my ears again, I didn't get to wear any ears or anything fun when I went to CityWalk. But I have my ears on, and now I see Disney balloons. People buying balloons again, which is great. So you can still get some balloons before the parks open, take your picture with them. But hopefully we'll get a reopening date somewhat soon. The Orange County Task Force that's in charge of discussing how all the theme parks are going to reopen did announce that they are supposed to be announcing Universal's opening date tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get a more concrete answer on when they plan to reopen, and then Disney shouldn't be too far behind, hopefully. Now, World of Disney is definitely the one store that I am waiting to return to. Got to get some more Disney merchandise like always, but this will be opening 1 week from today, so I'm sure I'll make it back here at some point. There isn't too much that'll make me come back right now. I just wanted to come over and see everything and pick up some chicken guys for dinner, but I will be back for World of Disney. I don't know if I'll be here opening day or not, but at some point in time expect some content showing the new merchandise that's available in World of Disney. But you can definitely see they have all these social distancing signs on the ground here. Now, the one thing that I have seen people talk about online that is a little confusing is how some of the signs are not very consistent. So these big rectangular ones are telling you where you should not stand, compared to the little tiny strip signs that we've seen that tell you where to stand. So definitely read the sign, because they don't always say the same thing. And of course these say they're exits only. So lots of different signs over here, but yeah, right up here Starbucks is one that I was talking about, where this one tells you where you should stand compared to World Disney where it's don't stand here. So just slightly confusing, but signs everywhere. Now here I'm standing by the giant stage here at World Disney where they always have live performers, right by Rainforest Cafe, and World Disney is right behind me. And they have said during this time that entertainment is not happening quite yet, and that's just to avoid huge gatherings here. But of course Stitch is right there at World Disney. It feels great to be back here, even though there isn't too much open yet, but it's definitely progress. Something else to keep in mind is that a lot of restaurants have very limited menus at this time, so I know Ghirardelli has reopened. The sign says we are closed, so I could be wrong about that. Maybe they just shared their menu. But I knew they do have a very limited menu at this time. So maybe they're not open yet, but when they are, they will not be offering everything they had before closing. And I do think that is pretty common across a lot of different restaurants that have already opened at this point. But here we can see more of the distance seating that Ghirardelli has set up. So you have the rope to kind of keep the people walking by a little far away from the guests, as well as keeping all the tables separated. Marketplace Co-op is also closed this time, but that is also announced to be opening 1 week from today. Now over here in the marketplace is where you definitely see more of the Disney-owned stores. So here we have Trendy, but it does look like they have gotten ready. They have the exit-only signs. They have Purell right in that door right there. So there's definitely not nearly as much open over here, since a lot of this is Disney with Pin Traders and Once Upon a Toy, and all of these are still closed. I don't know if all of them will be opening a week from today. So far they've only specifically said World Disney and Marketplace Co-op, but they do definitely all have the preparations in place. So maybe we'll see them open in a week, not too sure yet. And then right here is going to be the third temperature check. So if you're not coming from one of the two parking garages, you can come from this pedestrian bridge that brings you down right next to Once Upon a Toy, and they have the same exact temperature procedure that we went through over in the garage. Now coming back towards Rainforest Cafe, and I will say that it is so exciting to hear Disney music playing again. And I did love going to CityWalk last week, so if you didn't see that video to kind of see what CityWalk looks like right now, definitely check that out. But I will say, CityWalk is not a place that I've ever gone to just for CityWalk. I always kind of go there on the way in and out of going to the Universal parks. But I love coming to Disney Springs on its own. And even though there isn't too much open yet, it's just great to be able to walk around out here, be outside, still be able to keep your distance and have your mask on, so don't have to be too worried as far as safety measures, because Disney's definitely done a pretty good job so far, it looks like. I did just walk by Earl Sandwich and did notice that the line was not distanced properly, but Disney does have a specific team right now that is going around trying to remind people to keep their distance, so I would be curious to walk by it again a little bit and see if that line has been spaced out properly. But it's just a great view. All the fountains are on, all the music's playing. It's a fun time to be here. Alright, so now here by the water, just walking across the bridge from Rainforest Cafe. But here's kind of a good idea of looking at most of the places that have yet to open. So we did see Earl Sandwich open, but the Art Corner was not open, the Star Wars store, Once Upon a Toy, Ghirardelli is not open yet. World Disney, now Basin is open, and they do have their hand washing station available, so if you want to go try out the hand scrubs, they do actually clean your hands as well, so they're open and allowing people to wash their hands, which I'm sure is more than encouraged during this time. And it looks like Lego's not open either, so this part of Disney Springs doesn't really have too much yet, but it is still nice to be able to walk around here, listen to the music, enjoy the fountains, but definitely haven't seen too many stores that are open over here. Alright, so I did have to stop at Starbucks before going over to Chicken Guy to get a brand new drink that they have because this Disney Springs Starbucks that is right by World Disney always has really good featured drinks here that you can't get at any other location. And it's called the Welcome Back. So it's actually a frozen dragon drink with strawberry and a ginger golden whipped cream. Oh, and pineapple as well. So it sounds very interesting. I've seen a couple of people walking around. It's very colorful. I've not tried it yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be great. So if you're here in the near future, they have the Welcome Back here at the Marketplace Starbucks. So I'm now in line for Chicken Guy. So we are spaced out 6 feet behind these lines. One thing I will say is people appear to be following the rules as far as distancing in the lines, which is nice to see. Alright, so I've now made it inside Chicken Guy, and you can see that there are plexiglass barriers at every register to protect the cast members from the guests, to provide some extra distance, as well as here at the pickup area. And where you typically would self-serve and get your own soda, there's actually a employee that gets the soda for you. And you can see all the tables are spaced out here as well. But it's pretty interesting. I've not seen the self-service machines, how they're handling that yet. So it's interesting to see that the cast members are getting it for you. So that is it for today's visit to Disney Springs. I just got my food from Chicken Guy and I'm gonna head out. So I didn't get to walk around all of Disney Springs, but I got to pretty much check out the marketplace and see what the general policies look like. I'm sure I'll be back at some point after the Disney stores reopen, so hopefully I'll be able to show a little bit more of Disney Springs when I come back. Overall, the policies seem to be working pretty well, and they are very similar to what Universal's done. I would say that probably the biggest difference is that Disney does have the dedicated team that's supposed to be patrolling. I didn't see too much of that today, but I'm sure as this continues to go on and more opens up, hopefully we'll see a bit more of them policing it and making sure people are following the rules. Which overall was not a problem, but you always have the occasional person that's taking their mask off, unfortunately. But it was a great visit out to Disney Springs. I'm glad to see it's reopened, and they're doing a really good job of, having all those distancing policies in place, as well as a lot of the portable hand washing sinks and everything that are right behind me. So it's definitely nice to see it open again and have more places to go. But that is it for today's video. So if you like this video, definitely give us a like. If you want to check out the Universal video, I'll link that in the comments down below, as well as our last visit to Hollywood Studios to kind of show what those sinks were in the parks. That is it for Disney Springs, so subscribe to our channel if you want to see the next time we come out. But until then, I will see you guys the next time that I go to Disney and beyond. Thanks for watching.